everybody, welcome to Mass Media Galaxy. I'm Brandon.
I'm Eric.
And we just saw The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2, directed by James Wan, is starring Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, and that little girl. What was her name again? Madison Wolfe, who was fantastic in this movie, but we'll get to that a little later. Eric, what are your first impressions on The Conjuring Part 2, more Conjuring?
I didn't have that. This was actually, I'm not a horror fan, but this was probably the first horror movie, I could really remember that I was looking forward to. And boy, did it impress. This is probably as good, if not probably even better than the first one. Movie is not getting that good of a rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't understand. But yeah, I like this one, I think, better than the first one. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm right there with it. I don't think I liked it better than the first one, because it is one of those, like, Avengers Age of Ultron things where, it is a sequel, so you have to really up your game. But I said as we were leaving the theater, if The Conjuring was 100, this movie is 99.5, so it's right up there. But it's really hard to recreate that original freaked out, like, oh my god, this is the best horror movie I've seen since, like, 1979. Up until that point. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's definitely almost on par with the first one. So we'll talk about some of the acting performances in it. What did you think?
They're all solid. I mean, the girl you said, Madison Wolfe, she was really good in it. If she didn't work, then the whole movie fails whatsoever. A lot of it hinges on of her performance and her portrayal of having a demon possessed by her, which is in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. Patrick Wilson is very good as well. His wife, Vera, what was her name? Farmiga. She's very good as well. All around, solid cast. No complaints whatsoever. Yourself?
Yeah, I loved everybody in the movie. The nice part about this one is you got to explore the Warren characters a little bit more. They were kind of like, they were part of the first movie, but a little on the outside, and this time the movie involves them a lot more, both on a personal and plot level. So you really got to see them act a little bit more. I love Patrick Wilson because I love, we're talking in the car, Insidious, Conjuring, Insidious 2, Conjuring 2, Insidious 3. Wilson's awesome in all those movies. And that little girl, man, I mean, this is, I'm going to forever call little actors being the main character in a movie and kicking ass called tremblaying. So she did a great job tremblaying in this movie. But yeah, I mean, she was amazing. I'm just blown away at the performance of like a 10, 11, 12-year-old girl who just, just out Linda Blair, which is tough to do, man. Like I said, it's like, these Conjuring movies are the best horror movies that have come out basically since The Exorcist, in my opinion, of this genre of horror. So.
Yeah, I liked how you brought up the whole dynamic between the couple. I think that's what makes this film superior to the first one, in that you get to really know the characters, like you said, as well. They're allowed to really develop, and you become invested in them, which is, like, I think the biggest mistake that most horror movies make. They just throw the horror at you and don't let you know the characters whatsoever. This one really lets you get to know them, really become invested in them, and it's engaging.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked about this movie is that it's a haunted house movie, and haunted house movies usually have a sort of beat-by-beat formula. This one doesn't. It sort of takes it apart, deconstructs it, and sort of shakes it up a bit, mixes it up. I really like that because I didn't really know where it was going at places.
Yeah, I think that's what scared me the most about the movie is, I jumped several times in the theater, even at parts that I've seen in the trailer 5 times, still made me jump. And the reason that stuff made me jump is what you just said. I care about this girl, and I care about her family because we've been introduced to them, and it's been a nice, slow, here's how they operate, here's what's happened, you learn a little bit about their past, so you have this attraction to them, and you're very attentive when you're watching their scenes, so it just... when the scary stuff, and not just jump scares, but just general tension is happening, you're like, oh my god, I like this little girl, what's happening? Why? No, don't do that, rah! So it has those moments in it. But that's one of the best things, too, is that first Conjuring freaks me out completely. It's hard to watch, but we watch it anyway. And this movie had the same effect, where, the imagery in this movie is going to burn through your brain for like a good week. I know I'm going to struggle sleeping tonight thinking about nuns. So you might have the same issue going out of this movie too, kids, because they did a fantastic job of just cinematography. Let's set up a scary shot. The shadows are in the absolute perfect places. There's a scene with a little fire truck and a kid in a tent, and I lost my mind. Nothing really happens in the scene, but it's just filmed so well, and just, stop looking at that thing, kid. Stop looking at that thing, kid. This is one of those movies I want to be vocal during. And I was on the edge of my seat through most of the film. I mean, I literally had the chair in front of me, full on grab through the movie. So very, very scary, very good acting, great. I don't know. I don't have a lot of negatives to say about the movie. I think you might have a couple.
A few, but
or just one. Yeah.
Well, one. But I like how you said with the tension. Yeah, there's a lot of tension in this movie, and you're alluding to earlier with the cinematography, the lighting, the shadowing, the sounds, and just the camera movement. All the tracking cameras. It builds atmosphere and suspense, and So it builds atmosphere, suspense, and just a lot of tension to it, and it really builds up the fear to it. I guess if I had to say one negative to it, I think goes a little bit too long. It drags a little bit at points. If you cut down like a good 15, 20 minutes, I think it would have been a little bit better contained. It's basically the opposite effect that we got with yesterday's Warcraft, which could have used another 20, 30 minutes. This one could have probably used a little 20 minutes less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed it. This is the best movie I've seen this weekend. It's probably the best movie we've seen since Civil War, I would say.
I would say The Nice Guys.
Maybe Nice Guys, yeah. That movie was fantastic. But yeah, summer horror movies, you don't get a lot of really good ones. Yeah. And then this guy, James Wan, just showed up in 2004 and started directing movies. And now most of the best horror movies we've had in the last 10 years are all because of him. And
some of the best,
hopefully his reign will continue. So, Eric, would you recommend seeing The Conjuring?
Absolutely. If you're a fan of horror films, you'll love it. If you're not, give it a try. I'm not a fan, and I loved it.
Yeah, and I say absolutely go see this movie. Just one of the whole things, like I always say, too, give James Wan your money. He's just fantastic, and the more money we give to him, the more opportunities he'll get to produce and direct movies like this, which stand out. I mean, there's going to be 40 horror movies that come out this year, and this one is the only one that is going to be an absolute C for me. So, we'll see, obviously, got to see the other movies that are coming out, but as usual, it is an always C for me.